Hiya friends! Are you interested in teaching on iTalki? Or are you a student who perhaps wants to hear a teacher's perspective of iTalki? Well, you came to the right place because I am 100 lessons into teaching on iTalki and I am thrilled about it. I love the platform, and today I just want to talk to you as objectively as possible about some of the main factors of teaching on iTalki. So that includes the money, the students, the software, the time, and the activities, okay? So I started teaching on iTalki about this time last month, okay? It's January 2020 right now, and I started in December 2019 just as a part-time gig. All right, now it's turning into more of a full-time gig. I've become very, very busy. I've gotten great reviews, but we'll start from the get-go with the money, okay? So I started off nice and low and slow with $8 per lesson. $8 per 60-minute lesson and $2 per trial lesson. So those are 30-minute lessons. I've climbed my way up to $4 for a trial lesson. I think $5 is the most I will go to because they just pass in a flash and they're so easy and you're really just meeting people. It's like you're sitting down on a blind date. Most of the time students don't give you a hard time in the first lesson. They don't expect too much out of you. That doesn't mean you let things slide. This is your time to really impress people and really teach them, show them why you would be a great teacher for them, right? So I don't let these opportunities just pass me by, but definitely I don't get hung up on the money for any of the lessons really, but especially for the trial lessons, okay? So those I've climbed up to $4 a pop. I also began charging about $10 when I was 20 lessons in for 60-minute lessons. And I began to play around with my profile to change the information on my profile and my bio for the different lessons as well. And if you don't know much about how iTalki is actually formatted, then again check out my profile and you'll be able to see. But definitely playing around with it has helped me out with the iTalki algorithm. Also going on the forums and correcting different notebooks has helped me out a lot as well. So if you are new on iTalki, definitely get out there and start engaging with the community, because those fish don't bite unless if you throw the hook or whatever. So anyway, yeah, the money's going the right way right now. I integrated in IELTS because I'm an IELTS preparation teacher as well, so I've integrated that. Now I'm charging about $15 for the IELTS, $12 for the 60-minute sessions, but again, it's $10 if they buy things in bundles, right? If they buy their lessons 5 packs or 10-pack lessons, right? And of course, I enjoy the one-on-one time with my students. I think that the more time, the merrier. So that moves on to the students. All right, money's a wrap, so we could talk about the students now. The students have been lovely. I'm dealing with people from all over the world. I'm dealing with people especially from Eastern Europe. These students have a different sense of humor, definitely more blunt, definitely more direct, and I think you need to develop some thick skin, which luckily living in Ireland, working at a bar for a year, I've definitely developed. So I think this is a match made in heaven for me. I'm definitely the smiley guy, as the name insists, but for sure you need to adapt a little bit and meet your students halfway. Of course, I'll be more likely to be that smiley, happy-go-lucky guy, playing the fill and all that with maybe a more smiley, happy-go-lucky person. But I have some people who are a little bit more down to business, and I respect that. There are many professionals on iTalki. Many people are involved in engineering. I've noticed that many engineers are on iTalki, okay? So if you have any background in the business, then definitely flaunt it, okay? Yeah, so the students have been fantastic. I have taught some, I have 2 or 3 students who I've taught more than 10 lessons to. So these are properly dedicated, loyal students. They're becoming my friends. One difficulty here is that you need to remember that you're still there to do a job, right? So I always try to have a topic. I always try to have some sort of material, some sort of goal, objective to teach them, so that I don't have too much fun, right? Yeah, aside from that, I've probably taught, I think it's between 35 and 40 students out of my 100 classes. Almost every class has been a rebooking. There's only been about maybe 5, 6, 7 that haven't been rebookings, okay? So I've been doing very good in that department. It makes me feel very good that people have been reviewing. After every class, you could leave feedback to your students. I've left feedback for every class. Okay, many teachers talk about, well, does this help the algorithm? It doesn't matter. Like, if you want to help your students, then it's a good idea to throw some feedback down for them. And I have a lot of feedback on my profile, and it makes me feel golden. Okay, so definitely put some constructive criticism in there for your students. All right, happy days. Number 3 is the software. I'll tell you straight, most people use Skype. Most people use Skype, okay? The software, there's not much of a difference for me. I'm not much of a whiz kid. Basically, if somebody wants to use iTalki, we use iTalki. I live on the Atlantic Ocean, on the Atlantic coast, in a little touristy village. So I will have a beautiful internet, good connection all week long, and then on the weekends, when all of the city people come bombarding in, bam, it's choppy, it's hard, and thank God my students have been so patient. But that's definitely a thing. Some people blame connection problems for iTalki. I have not experienced connection problems severely on the iTalki classroom compared to Skype. Maybe a couple times. I would always opt for Skype because I think Skype is marginally more reliable, okay, but definitely not by a huge margin, okay? So more people use that. Definitely after you have a class, your student has to confirm that it's complete. If not, there's 3 days, and if the student does not report a problem, then it just automatically registers as complete. Okay, so this I did not know this at first, so I was kind of contacting iTalki like, what's going on? Was there a problem? And they gave me the scoop. After that 3 days, because sometimes students do forget, and after that 3 days, it will register, and you should leave feedback. Sometimes by that point you're like, oh my god, 3 days. If you've been working like I have, 7 or 8 classes per day, that's 25 classes later. I barely remember that. Well, that's when you get a notebook, okay? You get your notebook, you throw your notes down in there on every student. No matter what the lesson is, I always put information for my students. I write a brief, rough sketch of a plan. I have the tabs open on my computer, and then when I'm talking to the student, if it's a trial lesson, I always write down their job. Always write down their job, always write down what they're interested in, always write down what they would like help with. Those 3 things, okay? Job, interest, and needs. All right, fantastic. Okay, so the software is good for me. The community is good to engage with. I'm learning French and German, so I've actually reached out to people to be language partners. I haven't linked up with anybody yet, but I'm hoping. So if you know anybody out there who knows Francais or Deutsch, tell them to hit me up. Okay, happy days. And then moving on to time. Okay, so the amount of time I spend on iTalki is fabulous. I sometimes I will be in here so long. It feels like a full day's work, and I'm standing up, as you could see, so I hit the hay nice and hard. But definitely the time is a good thing for me. I like the amount of time. The pay for the time is good. One of the potential problems is that if you have your calendar wide open like I do, well, you get back to back to back to back to back classes, and I've had that. I've had 5 classes back to back a couple times, and it gets wild. You kind of just take your tea in here, and you're like, all right, hibernation. I'm not seeing outside of my room for a little while. Yeah, so if that's a problem for you, definitely like book off a section in between. For me, it's not a problem. My students are understanding. Usually I could finish, maybe start a couple minutes early, finish a couple minutes early, and just keep doing that until it gets to the point where you're right on the marker. And of course you're like hanging up, okay, on to the next Skype call. But it's definitely not a massive problem as long as you have some of that teacher stamina. Okay, and as I said, 30-minute, 45-minute, 60-minute classes. Most of my classes have been 60. I love 45-minute classes. Those are the best. 30 minutes is just too short for me, but some beginners prefer that, okay? So that's another thing to go over. Some students, we're talking about the styles now. So some students have different needs. So they will require a program. I was teaching a student today his trial lesson, and he just wants a program. He wants a flat out plan. That's great. Especially for students who have specific objectives in mind, make them a program, okay? And all students have different needs, right? So be aware and be ready to ask them, what would you like to work on, and how will we get there? All right, because some students want just informal tutoring, some of them want just conversation, and some of them want specific things. So if I were you, when you're creating your profile, definitely create different lessons that are tailored to different needs. I have a conversational class, I have reading and writing, I have speaking and listening, I have IELTS. And so far, so dandy, okay? So definitely throw that up there, and that should work like a charm. Keep in mind that your style will keep changing. I have taught a couple kids, and I'd wake up and I'd be like over the moon, like all theatrical and stuff, and I don't think I'm the best teacher with kids personally. I prefer either teenagers or adults, right? But definitely your style, sometimes it could push you into uncomfortable territory or new territory. Just embrace it. That's what I've learned to do. There's all different types of people on iTalki, and truly you should just expect whatever is thrown your way. Aside from that, activities, okay? So I've actually created new activities as I've gone along. Never stop creating material. And that doesn't mean you have to be selling it online, or you have to be, trying to print the next textbook or something. But definitely make peace with the fact that that some of those games, some of those go-to games, have been played by your students a million times before. And if you could just think of one just awesome idea, that is you. You are that idea now. Like, that student has never had that before. It's like creating a joke that hasn't been told before, right? So for me, I mean, I'm not reinventing the wheel, but there's a few games, a few activities that I have created, and necessity is the mother of invention. Online ESL games are tough to come by, I have realized. Finding resources for online are tough to come by. For grammar, okay, no problem. For worksheets, yeah, okay. But where are the games? Where are the warmers? It's tough. You don't have that intimate person-to-person contact. You can't have tangible resources. And that actually swipes away a huge fraction of the market, right? So for me, I've found different ways that I could utilize resources online and create activities out of those, right? So definitely keep your head on a swivel and keep going for it, keep innovating, and keep producing new content. Yeah, aside from that, iTalki has been fantastic. I've enjoyed the ride, and I'm so excited for my next 100 lessons. I could tell you, every time there's a new student that pops up, there's a little rush. It's like, this is a new person. This is a new a case of ideas, of thoughts and emotions, and a new kind of project as well, right? And I've been learning a lot from my students. So definitely don't forget to learn from your students. Don't forget that some of your students may lack some confidence, and they could use that extra push. And to get behind them and be that supportive teacher that we all needed at one point in our life. Okay, happy days. I hope this rant helps you out. If you have any questions or comments, just throw them down in the box below. I'll put some information into the info box as well. Subscribe for weekly, actually daily, tips and tricks for new young ESL teachers. All right, happy days. I'm Ryan. Keep smiling.